Well, it's all about transparency. I feel like individuals that have given you their vote and given you their hard earned money in the form of tax dollars, in the form of VAT, in the form of road tax, in the form of every single tax that we pay. I feel that they really deserve the transparency that comes with the people that are running the show, declaring all their assets. Similar in America, you have to do the same thing. To become president of America, you have to put all your stuff in a blind trust. You're not even able to make decisions for any of these companies that you're a shareholder for. So a lot of those things could easily be implemented in Barbados so that we have a much more transparent society. If politicians are quick to just release numbers accounting for everything, I feel it would instill a lot more trust.
They're going to try to siphon off things for themselves. They go into office to get rich. Do you think that that could be one of the reasons for that?
Right before we get to the voter apathy, one more thing on this is also an easy way to track. Let's say somebody got into office in 2018 and it was only listed they had two properties. Now, only 7 years later, if they have 20 something properties, you'd be like, wait, I mean, you make decent money, but not 20 something properties, decent money, you know what I mean? So it would just be an easy check and balance. The voter apathy in the country, I really think, has to do with people don't think that there will be a genuine change. People think that you could vote for different parties, but they really don't see the outcome being that drastically different. People see crossing the floor, all of that. They really just think that this group of politicians are all friends and they're just BLP, DLP. It don't really make a difference. Poor people still suffering. That's how the average millennial is approaching the voting process. And most people will say that they're not voting, and they think that that in itself is a protest. When in fact, that's probably the worst thing you could do for your country. Choose not to vote. Because then, if you choose not to vote, all I will say is you have absolutely no right complaining. I don't want to hear you complain about anything that happens in the country ever again if you don't vote. Because you had a chance to make your voice known. You might think your one vote doesn't count, but everybody has the same one vote. The prime minister and the pauper have the same one vote, and that's the only say we have. So you gotta make sure you use it. Well, I mean that was ideal. I didn't even know it was passed in both houses of parliament. The question you would just have to ask is why on earth is it not actual law yet? Why hasn't the president signed off on it? Um, I really think that that would be a ideal scenario in the reality that we live in. Mia got all 29 seats, every single seat in parliament. She got the majority of the Senate as well, both houses. So she can pass or not pass laws as she pleases. She's really been going on a rampage recently, though, in terms of all of these different divisive laws. Lots of the legislation that comes before the parliament, the lower house, the Barbados people have something to say about. It's been very seldom in the past that every single bill that come into parliament, Bajans are like, what on earth is this? Like every single bill, week after week after week, you see on CBC, Barbados Today Nation, the government is looking to introduce this law, and everybody's like, what on earth is that? What on earth are these fines? Just like the new law they're gonna have on rental housing. If somebody got a spare bedroom in the house, want to rent it out for those $600-700 a month, no,
We're
they
gonna
gotta
get
get a
there. We're gonna
license
get
to do
there.
that.
That's Let's
Correct,
see if we
correct.
can read. Your eyes might look a bit better than mine. Don, you can see it, or Zico, who can see? You can read anything on there?
Yeah. With Barbados falling in the international corruption rankings, the Barbados Labour Party is proposing new anti corruption measures. The party plans to lay its Integrity Commission bill before Parliament at its first sitting if it wins the next general elections. Yesterday, the trio of Shadow Attorney General Dale Marshall, candidate for Christchurch South Ralph Thorne, and candidate for Christchurch East Wilfred Abrams announced the party's proposed Integrity Commission bill. Speaking to the media at the opposition leader's office in the West Wing of Parliament, Marshall said the new bill would bring a host of changes and improvements when compared with the Prevention of Corruption Act, which had been on the books since 1929. While announcing the proposed bill, available on the party's social media channels for public consumption, I guess.
Yeah, right. Well, the point is that this is supposed to. This is
So that
This is,
was 8 years ago today that it was posted in the media.
oh,
It
really?
was
Oh,
September what? It was September sometime around now.
be interested in pushing something like this.
I don't know if you had seen the riots they had in Nepal recently that
Hmm.
caused the prime minister to step down, and it was all Gen Z, even younger than millennials. So if a millennial is somebody 30 and over, Gen Z is even younger than that. And they burned down the entire parliament building, some of the politicians' houses. They went after everybody because they banned social media and overall corruption. So if we could take a page out of their book, that would be incredible. But Gen Z, they feel like they just have too much on their hands to worry about already. Everybody, even just worrying about where the next meal gonna come from, where they gonna get work, and it really drowns out the political issues in the country. They're thinking about themselves personally, so they don't even have time to complain or really study how awful the politics is.
Is it something out there nebulous? I can't really touch it. How does it affect people, an individual?
Well, it's really an indirect effect. So when we think about corruption, the easiest cases to think about are construction. Construction is one of the easiest ways to line your pockets as a politician. Let's say you send out a tender. You can say we want to build a new QE. Just for this example. We looking to spend around $100 million. Send in your bids for that amount. The people of Barbados is who foot in the bill for the $100 million because we had to borrow that money from IMF or somewhere else, and we got to pay interest on it. So
Yeah.
we, the citizens of Barbados, over the next 20 years, probably paying about 150 million by the time this interest is compounded and everything over the next course of the loan. So when all the construction companies come in with all the different bids, um, the at the end of the day, the politician is probably going to take the bid that offers him the biggest kickback. So let's say the contract is still for 100 million, but that contractor is going to kick him back. Let's say 20 million to his account he has here in Barbados and cash overseas, anything. So that $20 million is less work that the people of Barbados are going to have into that hospital. That hospital is worth 20 million less dollars. And that means that the people of Barbados aren't seeing the benefit of our $20 million worth of tax work. Just like when you build houses for low to middle income people, the corruption is that since the construction company had to give so much kickbacks, they have to spend less on each house. As we see in Barbados today, houses being built poorly, foundations cracking before people even move in, the plumbing mashing up before people even move in. These are direct symptoms of corruption.
Has Airbnb?
Yeah, so essentially what the law is saying is whether you have an Airbnb or not, once you have any kind of short-term accommodation being rented out, even if it's, your cousin coming in and staying at your house for 5 days and he giving you a couple $100 for that.
Really?
Once you have any kind of short-term accommodation, you're gonna have to register and get a license for the government. They're gonna have to have an inspector come out to your house and make sure that everything is above board, and then they may or may not give you the license.
You sure? I honestly did not get a chance to
Hmm.
read the whole thing. I just read what was in the newspaper.
Hmm.
Listen, you all understood that was what it was. You all educating me tonight.
Yeah, it's true.
Yeah, and there's a fine of $250,000 if you don't do it. You
Listen
know how
to me.
much drugs you got bring in, Marcia, to get fined $250,000? It almost made more sense to do that than to have an Airbnb.
God, I am so glad you're on the straight and narrow. I am so glad. I'm so glad you're my son and you don't do those things. You said that came off your tongue too easily. Terry, these are three of my sons here and they're good guys. Okay, don't follow Don. But listen, Don, repeat what you just said a while ago because my head is these people, I don't know where they get up and they come with these things and they're getting ready to pass this. But they won't pass the Integrity in Public Life Bill, Barbados. Don, educate us about it, Don. And educate us.
About the same bill, the
Yes, take it
same.
slow with us. Take it slow.
Yeah, it's essentially if you have any kind of short-term accommodation, whether if you renting out, like let's say somebody Kate was coming in for crop over and you just wanted to get like a 5 days rent from a room in your house, anything so that would become completely illegal unless you had a license from the government. So you're gonna have to have an inspector come to your house, inspect the property, and then it would also come with making sure that you're paying taxes. There are different daily taxes on different types of tourism products. So you're gonna have to pay at least 10 US a night for the tourism levy and other taxes. And then again, the biggest fine, one of the biggest fines I've ever seen, $250,000 just up front, just no questions asked. It's not $250 per day that you're breaking the law. It's $250,000 one time.
What a milli.
I
So,
really just think it's over policing a sector of society that could have been so prone to entrepreneurship. This government preaches that we're going to need to have a lot more entrepreneurs. And then when people try to go and be entrepreneurs, try to get a little side hustle going in the real estate market, now they start to over police it. So I think that it's really not necessary. They're so pressed on the average Bajan trying to make a dollar that they have to tax all of them, while all of the big resorts get everything duty free. A lot of resorts come in here with 5 to 10 year tax holidays. And realistically, it has to be the hotels and resorts in Barbados that pressured the government to do this. We all know elections right around the corner, and the hotels and resorts probably told the government that we're not donating to your campaign unless you do something to help us. Because what this law is going to do is it's going to drastically reduce the amount of Airbnbs in Barbados. They have a lot of people in Barbados that will probably just go back to renting. If they had like an apartment or a room in their house, they might go back to renting that long term to a Bajan. They're not going to be able to capture any of that tourism market because some of them might not pass the inspection for whatever reason. The inspector might take months to come. You see, with the government, you never know. There's so many things up in the air. So I really think that this was a play from the hotels and the resorts. They directly pressured the government. They said, "Listen, if we don't do something to try and curb this Airbnb and short-term market in Barbados, we are not donating to your campaign. If your campaign don't have money, then it can't win the next election." So I think that this was, yes, a lobby from the resorts to try to lower the amount of Airbnbs in Barbados. If they got less Airbnbs, people gonna have to stay in hotels.
or not
I would
really.
love I would love to think so. The reality is a lot of people in my age group really don't see the point in voting. I find that the biggest problem that I see personally when I walking around the streets talking to people is that people don't think that there's gonna be change. People think, oh well, the other party was in power, they were so bad. This party in power is so bad. Another party come in, they gonna be so bad. So people have just lost interest in the entire process on a whole. They think that it don't matter who in power, they ain't gonna get anything, they ain't gonna get any help, they ain't gonna get any assistance. So it's just got people are just feel lost, they feel forsaken, and they really don't think that their one vote is gonna shift the needle meaningfully.
Term basis.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not expert in fire safety. I can't say whether it was or where it was not a hazard. It possibly could have been. Maybe they were over exaggerating, but it is a crackdown on entrepreneurship in all of its different forms. We've seen even coconut vendors on the highway. They've been moved from wherever they were. So any kind of entrepreneurship, from the small man just selling coconuts on the side of the highway to now the vendors on Swan Street, to now even the more sophisticated entrepreneurs that had real estate trying to do it. It's a crackdown on all of the different trades, all of the different hustles that the everyday Bajan has. And they.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. But I'm going to Don first. Don,
Mhm,
they seem to be following the same trend here.
mhm.
Not to you? What are your thoughts? Let me not put any words in your mouth. Let me hear you.
is all about just controlling the entrepreneur. So I feel like they set us up to fail. For the last couple of years, they've been saying, "Oh yeah, you might not have a job. Try to get a side hustle. Try to be an entrepreneur. Let's push this entrepreneurship thing." So now that they've been doing that, they've been feeding that goal. Now that everybody is trying to do it in some form or fashion, whether it be through renting cars, whether it's through selling coconuts, whether it's through renting real estate. Now they're like, we got we told you to set up all these businesses and everything, and now we're making sure we come in for the tax. We're making sure we come in for the regulation. If you wasn't doing anything above board, you completely shut down. And it's tough. It's disheartening. Because at the end of the day, a lot of people are gonna say, "Oh, well, if you're not doing anything bad, you shouldn't. You should be able to be okay. You should be able to get all these licenses." But anybody that's dealt with government know that it's not as easy as it seems to get any kind of license to do with government. So that I really think that this is just going to become another way that the government is corrupt in the terms of issuing these licenses. Only certain people can get certain licenses to do certain things. Let's say I don't know how much it is. There's a website called AirDNA that you can check. But let's say, for argument's sake, there are 600 Airbnbs in Barbados right now.
Mhm.
What's to stop the government from saying, okay, well, we can only choose 50 people to give licenses to? What can happen to those other 550 people? You know what I mean? Because that is the overall goal of the bill, to drastically reduce the amount of it. You could even do that with coconut vendors as well. Suppose there are 100 people right now. Government will be like, all right, well, we only picking we favorite 10 people. So that then the market now is being run by somebody loyal to the party. That's how the government corruption works. So I don't really think that the criticism is on regulating things themselves. Obviously, regulation is good to a certain extent, but it's how the government is going to use this newfound power of being able to regulate all these various industries to their advantage and to their supporters' advantage.
For all those new hotels being built on the island. Oh my
Yeah.
God.
Marcia, I got to run though.
I know.
But I just want to end with underscoring that point. This Sandra Charles, that was a perfect comment just to underscore the point. Now we see there's a reason too for all those new hotels. Who do you think that this government are gonna be loyal to? All these hotels that are being built on the island. What did we just talk about was the easiest way for politicians to line their pockets? All of this construction. This government boasts of having 6 resorts, 7 resorts, all being built at the same time. One, do we really need all these new resorts? Wasn't the Airbnb economy in Barbados actually providing good tourist accommodation while giving the everyday Bajan money in their pocket? But the tourism industry, the big players in the tourism industry, told this government, if you don't do something to curb this rising Airbnbs, we're not going to finance your campaign coming up. It's all about elections. All the BLP is in election mode. All of these laws that they've tried to pass, from the cybercrime straight through, all these laws terrorizing citizens are to put you in fear and just to make you scared. So citizens of Barbados, really, really think about it. Think about how hard that they're trying to push the agenda onto the citizens, and y'all really need to think about everything that is being said on the Marcia Week show. We really need to applaud people like Marcia that stick her neck out on the line, hosting these shows, hosting these marches, everything she does to try to wake up the citizens of Barbados, and we can't thank her enough for it.
Yes. Thank you so much, Don, for joining as well. And keep doing
Yeah.
what you're doing. Keep safe.
Hmm.
And say a big hello to your mom. And
Yes, I
and that,
will.
and that special friend for me. Okay.
Mhm. All right, sounds good. All right, Zico, Terry, see y'all later.